What's good? What's cracking, everybody watching? But welcome back to the FBS Friday show. Okay, I got my guys, Jason. I got my guy Zach from the Blue Bloods podcast, and of course I'm Kobe. Just before we get started, I want to let y'all know Clay, my boy, making money. He can't be here, man. He making money. All right, and of
Always be
course
closing.
Kelly couldn't be here this week either. But y'all can catch him next show. I just want to throw that out there. But as for tonight, this is the NFL mock draft show for round one. All right, so me, Jason, Zach, we're gonna go through some teams. All right, we're gonna get these picks going, let y'all know who we think should go where. And if y'all want to come up and ask questions or just talk or give your own prediction, just do so. All right, I'll put the link in the comment. I'll let y'all come up and do what y'all do. But guys, let's get going. All right, let's get started. So let me bring the screen up. Boom. Who had the first?
Oh man. Well, it was supposed to be Clay, but I think it's our guy Jason right now. He's got pick number 1.
Who you got, Jason?
I didn't know it was me, but okay. It's Caleb Williams. I think that's pretty clear. That he's been.
No, my bad. It's actually Kobe. Kobe, it was you, but I think we all know who was going to pick.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
No, I mean you make the trade. You make the trade to get Justin Fields out of there. We know exactly what you're going to do. There was a little speculation. Maybe you drop down. Maybe you go and get some picks. Nah, it was always going to be Caleb. So yeah, it's a no-brainer.
The best part is Kobe's got pick 2. So are we going back-to-back quarterbacks or
Washington? We are going back to
curveball?
They are.
Number 2. All right, I got the Commanders taking Jaden Daniels over Drake May. All right, let's just. I would hope the Commanders don't mess this up and take Drake May because of the recent hype train that he's got. But let's be real. Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator at Washington. I feel like Jaden Daniels would be much more friendly to that scheme than Drake May would, because he can run as well as pass the football. And he put up road to glory numbers at LSU in his 2 years there. I think he'll be just fine in the Cliff Kingsbury. So it just makes sense for him to go to the Commanders.
I don't mind that pick. No, because obviously we're going to have a little bit of discussion on some of these, especially toward the middle of the round. But this is a big one because, Drake's been trending in the media. I think we talked about that in the group chat today where there's a lot of rumors about him. And then also, too, let's not forget the J.J. McCarthy hype train is going crazy right now, which came out of nowhere for a lot of people.
Yes.
They do this every year, though.
And it would be Washington, a team like Washington, to really set it off and take JJ at pick number 2.
You're not wrong.
But would you put it past Washington to take a chance? And really and truly, this pick 3, is kind of where I think the JJ speculation could start because Bill Belichick, or like that, since Ben Belichick left, the Patriots historically, even under Bill Belichick, have not drafted well, especially in the first round. Name a first round pick that's really hit for them. N'Keal Harry was a bust.
Oh my God! I thought he was.
It's been a while, yeah. They were known in Belichick's days for hitting on those mid-round picks and late pick, obviously the Tom Brady pick, but even Gronk being a third rounder, Aaron Hernandez, those guys, they didn't get those guys in the first round, so that we're talking about guys that I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last first round pick aside from Matt Jones that they had, it's just not one of those teams that they were really big on. That somebody that worked out, was the DB that used to be there? Was he a first rounder?
Which one?
Golly, they're awesome corner.
Gilmore?
Yeah, Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah. Gilmore was the first rounder.
But I don't think they didn't draft it. They didn't draft him though. They signed him later in his career.
Okay, that's right. Okay, all right.
So it's been a while. So Jason, listen, can you change the fortune of the Patriots? Where are we going here with and hopefully it's not JJ McCarthy.
I mean, and as much as I think that Jaden Daniels was absolutely the right pick for Washington, and I think for that scheme, for what Cliff is going to want to do with the offense there, but I think that just as much of that, I believe that Drake May is the guy here at number 3. I don't think that you can trade this away You already got rid of the quarterback that wasn't very good to begin with, but Drake May he was born to be a superstar. This guy comes from a family that his dad was an All-American. His mom was an all-state basketball player in high school. His brother is Blake May, who played for a national champion in North Carolina there, and hit big game-winning shots down the stretch. He's still playing in the pros. This kid knows what he's doing. He's put up over 8,000 yards in just over 2 full seasons as a starter. Over 60 touchdowns and only 16 interceptions overall. I mean, I think the moment is never going to be too big for him. So I think that this is the right decision for them in this place. I think that they've been kind of signaling too that this is the guy they want. They've had him up there whining him and dining him because I think they believe that this is who's going to fall to him.
I really do think the biggest question for me with the Patriots, regardless of the quarterback they select, they have to, in the later rounds, get some weapons. I mean, they might have one of the worst wide receiving cores in the league right now.
They do.
That would be my big question. I mean, Kobe, how do you feel?
No, I agree, man. Listen, and the good thing about this is a wide receiver heavy class. So I mean, they could very well go out and get some guys, and hopefully they don't pick nothing to kill Harry. I mean, if you do that with as deep as this class is, I don't know what to say. But now
you're probably going to have either Xavier Worthy or maybe AD Mitchell or somebody like that at number 34, which is their next pick. So I don't think that. There's definitely going to be somebody out there that you can go get, at that time. This is the deepest wide receiver draft I can remember in a long time, man. And those are the guys that you should be able to get right on. You know what I mean?
I mean, the kid from Virginia, I think he led the nation in reception yards or receptions. He's not even a projected first rounder. This it's that deep. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, they could definitely get somebody.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be a big. I mean, speaking of wide receivers. Huge need for the Cardinals here. Jason, back up with Arizona. Where are we going with this pick?
You got to go with Marvin Harrison here. I think that if it was me, I would probably go with Roma Doomsday, but I do believe that they go with Marvin in this one. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame talent that's born of a Hall of Famer. So what do you got to do? You're going to go and do that. I think that there's no two. If they could pick two here, they'd pick 2 wide receivers because they are that. As much as you said, the Patriots don't have any weapons. Neither does Kyler Murray. They just, the one they had just went to the Chiefs in Marquise Brown. So, they really needed to go in there and get somebody for him to throw to.
Yeah. Listen, I got the hardest decision of the day because I mean, if there was a while here where I thought Bowers was to pick, but throughout the free agency is going to be a wide receiver for the Chargers, and it's that age-old debate: is it a Doomsday or Neighbors? Who's wide receiver? It's really 1A or 1B for me because I think both of these guys can be in the conversation with Harrison.
I feel like it's a Doomsday. I'm just
I like
the ball tracking. I feel like a lot of people don't got it like how he got it. That's why I favor him more than I would favor Neighbors. Even though that pro day, man, really, I mean, damn, that kid is athletic. So I wouldn't be mad at either one.
Only thing about Neighbors though is that being 6'3" and 220 and still running a 4.32, 4.31, whatever it was. And I mean, that's insanity.
That is insanity.
I mean, so I don't think you go wrong here, but I'm a Doomsday guy myself. I mean, the guy wins every ball.
I'll say this. I was very, very torn on this pick, but if I'm in Harbaugh's head, Harbaugh got to see this guy close up, and he's also on the West Coast. I think he's going to go with the West Coast kid. Give me a Doomsday here at number 5 for the Chargers. And Jacoby back up with the Giants. Man, there could be, I think the first 5 picks, everyone kind of knew the needs. Pick 6, man, you could go a multitude of ways with this one, man. Well, who are you bringing to New York?
Who I want to bring it or who I think they will bring it?
A little bit of both.
Okay. I want them to maybe bring Penix. All right, but I feel like they're going to do something incredibly stupid and take JJ McCarthy.
Oh, wow. You think they go quarterback here?
I think I
quarterback.
I do. I think they go quarterback. I'm going to be honest with you. Daniel Jones is the answer, and I think they're starting to.
Wow.
I think they figured that out. I think they know what it is. Even with that contract, he's not the answer.
No,
that is a crazy. I mean, if you're a New York fan right now and you're sitting here on day 2 of the draft looking at your depth chart and you have Daniel Jones and JJ McCarthy.
I actually saw Mark draft where he was going there. I'm not kidding.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what? I've seen it a bunch too. It's not out of the realm of possibility to see them doing it, but it's whoever is making these decisions, they got to get them out of there, because there's no way in hell that you're going to go 2 project type of guys like that. I mean, we haven't seen JJ throw the football. You know, he just didn't throw it that. I mean, I don't think that he has a bad arm or anything like that, but he hasn't thrown it near enough to what you're going to need to do in that division. It's a bad move. It's a bad move.
I feel like where there's smoke, there's fire with that.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, Kobe.
You see what I'm saying? And the thing that really gets me about it is like JJ was never asked to throw like 30 to 40 times a game because his running game was so great.
Yeah.
You can't you're not the 49ers. You don't have the luxury of asking JJ as a top 5 pick or as a top 10 pick to come in and be a game manager. He's gonna have to go out and win things by himself, and it's gonna require you throwing the ball more than 15 times to do it for under 20 yards. You don't have the luxury of my boy Purdy with the 49ers. You're gonna have to win ball games. This is not the guy, So I hope they don't do it, but I feel like it's a lot of smoke there.
Well, this is why the Giants are the Giants. If that's the case, it's ever since Eli left. And even then they were just so mid most of the time, and then they would step up and always out of the wild card is when they won. So this is just kind of who they are.
We're throwing it back over to Jason here for the Titans. A few different ways you can go here. Some elite prospects still on the board. Who you bringing into Tennessee?
It's got to be Joe Alt for me. You got to get in there. I mean, I don't think that they have a great quarterback there either. The guy that they drafted a year ago. I mean, I thought there's another project we're talking about, but you better protect this kid. If you want him to be good at all, you've got to get an offensive lineman, offensive tackle that can get that done. I still don't know what the Titans are doing, really, to be honest with you, man. I don't know why you fired the guy that you did, and the direction they're headed in doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, but I think that if you want to right the ship, you start with one of those guys that left tackle that you can expect to be there for 12, 15 years and anchor that offensive line. I think you have to do that there.
It kind of threw me for a loop here because this is not where I had a guy in mind for this pick, and I'll tell you, it was Mitchell, the corner from Toledo. I think that's where I would go here, but I think it's going to be one of those cases where a generational prospect has fallen way too far. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers and auxiliary need. You just gave Kirk Cousins way too many millions. I think the Falcons take a shot at Malik Neighbors here with him still being on the board at 8.
I like it. I had the Toledo corner going to them too, but I actually like that pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna think outside the box, especially because you do have Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts, but you really don't have another like that. There'd be no question that Kirk Cousins would have one of the best, I guess, surrounding weapons, along with Bijan and running back too. Mm-hmm. The weapon score would be too loaded, man. I think Neighbors is the pick here for Atlanta.
Did they get rid of their coach though? Atlanta, Mr. I don't know. I mean, the Mr. Play Caller himself.
Yeah, they went and hired the guy from the Rams though, who I think is a hell of a hire.
Yeah,
and then of course shout out to our guy KJ Blackman over there with Atlanta too. And I know he's a big wide receivers guy, so I think he would pull the strings here and get Neighbors on the board. But Kobe, throwing it back to you, Bears' second pick. The first one was much easier in terms of getting a quarterback. Where's Chicago going with their second top 10 pick of the draft?
So you could either get somebody to protect him, which I feel like that's definitely where you should go, or you could work on getting him more weapons. For me, I'd go protection. All right. And I'd go J.C. Latham from Alabama, that offensive tackle.
Wow.
Man, big pick right here.
Mhm.
I like
you
it.
gotta protect Caleb, man. I don't want him running around like how you had Justin did. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
But
get that.
Latham instead of Fashanu, huh?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. Like pulling up the offensive tackle board here, and there were some picks here. You got Fuega from Oregon State, Troy from Washington, Fashanu from Penn State. You had Mills from Georgia. I mean, there were some tackles on the board, man. But I don't think Latham's a bad prospect at all. But I think you either if you're the Bears, you either have to get another elite weapon for Caleb, or you got to get protection. I think those were your two options here. And I think Latham is probably a guy you can insert day one and start at either tackle spot for them.
I agree. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Let's see. I think, yeah. Oh, hang on. I got to scroll down here because Clay, this was supposed to be Clay's pick. So he let us down, but this is going to be my pick now. This one's tough, man, because there's so many needs for this team. But looking at the board, I think it's protection, especially with the injury that happened last year. My favorite offensive line prospect is Troy out of Washington. I thought after his combine, after his performance this year, I mean, Washington had the best offensive line in the country. He was the anchor of that. You got to protect Aaron Rodgers in the pocket because you have elite weapons. You just have to shore up that offensive line, and he's a day one starter in New York, in my opinion. So I'm taking Troy. I believe it's Fatunanu from Washington.
Fatunanu.
That's who we're going with.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Vikings, man. This, good Lord.
Say it.
Yeah.
Get my guy out there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kobe. Who you got here?
Hey.
If they go this early, that's crazy. Go ahead.
Bo Nix, everybody. Yeah, I'm going there.
Over
Get Bo Nix
Penix
off the board. Get him to Minnesota. My guy's been in college long enough. All right, he deserves it. What? I want to see him in that purple and gold, baby. Get him in Minnesota. I like it. That's where I want.
Who the fuck is that guy?
That is how I feel. I'll be honest. I think I'm hoping New York doesn't take JJ at 6.
Me either.
This is where I think JJ would fall if he doesn't go at 6. I think they like JJ. That's a tough, especially with Bauer still on the board. They got a huge need at tight end.
If I'm Justin Jefferson and you take JJ McCarthy, if he falls there, I'll get me out of here.
What about? I mean, Bo picks. Come on, bro.
Don't do my guy like that.
Talking about?
Don't do my guy like that, man.
Come on, man. He's been throwing underneath routes for 2 years. What are we talking about?
I mean, man. So after I'm shook up because I'm next, and I don't think the Broncos reach on Penix here. I don't think they follow suit with the Vikings and reach on Penix.
That's where I had Penix going. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't see that. Looking at the board, I honestly think that they're going to go edge rusher here. Edge rusher, and I think they have a big need at wide receiver, but I don't think there's a wide receiver right now that's worth taking at this pick, like for value. I think they go Latu here. I think they get them a bona fide edge rusher. They really haven't had an elite one since they lost Von Miller. I think the Broncos shore up that defense, especially in the division they're in. If you can't get to the quarterback, you're not winning that division with the elite play across the board, especially with Mahomes and Herbert and those guys in there. Got to get to the quarterback. I think Broncos go and get them an edge rusher, and I'm back up. And I still don't see the Raiders taking a quarterback this early. I know it's a big need. I do think offensive tackle is a big need. They need a running back, but I don't see them. I don't see any running back going in the first round this year. I'm taking my guy Fashanu from Penn State. I think he's a day one starter for them. I think falling to 13, man, that's an extreme value when he could have probably been a top 10 pick. You shore up that offensive line. Your defense is ready to go in terms of what the Raiders have. I think they go offensive tackle there.
Okay. man, and I think that's where the Saints really need to go as well, is to offensive tackle. I mean, that you've got them all off the board pretty much now. The ones that, aside from, because you got Fuaga's already gone too, right?
No, Fuaga's there.
Okay, Talise Fuaga. That's where I would go with the Saints. They got Carr killed all last season, so I mean they need weapons as well. And I cannot believe that Brock Bowers is still on the freaking board here, but because I think that what we are seeing in the NFL right now is the emergence of tight ends as your biggest weapon. And this guy is that next dude. I cannot believe that he's still on the board, but I think that the Saints you're not going to be able to throw it to him if you can't protect your quarterback. So I don't think that they go Bowers there. I think they go out there and get somebody to protect them.
We throwing it back to Kobe. Does he go at 15 to the Colts?
Brock Bowers, that's exactly why I had going to the Colts. I think AR needs a weapon. He needs a weapon. He's already proven he's the guy. He needs somebody like Brock Bowers who has the athleticism and can run like a wide receiver. All right, he has the size. I really like him as a prospect, man. You can't pass up on him, all right? Because I don't want an AR running as much as he had to last year. Give him somebody to help him out. Give the fans something to, cheer about, be excited about it in Indianapolis. I like Brock Bowers with the Colts.
He's a special talent, man. Special talent, no doubt about it.
Agreed. And I think, listen, I got the Seahawks here. It is overwhelmingly offensive line need for them, especially interior. And the best interior offensive lineman of the draft is out of Oregon. And it is Jackson Powers. So I'm going there at 16. They need guard. They need center. Jackson could play kind of all three positions. Probably going to jump in day one and start on that offensive line. So I'm going interior offensive line for the Seahawks at 16. Jaguars are up now. And
okay. They got to go corner here. I mean, that's pretty much all they need. I mean, you've got Quinion Mitchell or Cooper DeJean, right? Or did Quinion already go?
No corners have gone yet.
Okay, yeah.
17.
And then Terrion Arnold too. I mean, it's to me, I think I like Quinion Mitchell a lot, but I think you probably go with the guy that is going to be ready to go probably day one, and you go with Terrion Arnold.
I like that. I think I'll say this: when the draft process started, there was a lot of talk about Kool-Aid. I think as the draft process went on and more film was watched, we went to the combine, we've started studying these prospects more. It was pretty obvious that Arnold was the best cornerback on Bama last year.
Absolutely. And I thought he was better the year before. He's a freak. And I like Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid's good, but I think that Terrion Arnold is the man.
Agreed. Now, Kobe, you could have went Bowers here if you would have let him drop to you for the Bengals, who also do need a tight end. But who are we getting for Joe Burrow here? Can the Bengals make another run at another Super Bowl?
So here's the thing, right? I really do think T. Higgins has one more year in Cincinnati and then he's gone, because you have to pay Jamar Chase. So you got to replace that. And I think you go receiver here. And when looking at receivers, I'm thinking Brian Thomas Jr. Get that LSU connection going. Get that brotherhood back.
That I don't mind that. I think Brian Thomas, like we talked about this, our last episode.
Yeah.
And man, Brian Thomas Jr. is a little bit slept on in the process. I know our guy Kelly's going to be real excited that you picked him. He would like to. He said he wanted him to go top 10. We didn't get there, but he's top 20, which isn't a bad. Which isn't bad at all. So we got Rams here.
Right now, you're starting to see Joe Burrow is not as durable as you would want him to be, and they don't have any protection. So, I mean, I would have probably gone Tyler Guyton here just because if you don't have that quarterback, it don't matter what receivers you got there, And so, to me, I'm a little concerned if I'm Cincinnati about keeping him upright. We don't want him getting hit anymore because he keeps going down, and you keep losing seasons to him. So that's 2 seasons you've lost to him out of the first 5 years. So that's concerning. You know what I mean? I would probably want to protect him, and you do still have T for another year. I know that this is a deep receiver draft, but I probably would have went tackle there.
the LSU connection on that Bengals offense.
I
Is
understand
gonna
that.
be
I do
crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so crazy. But now we got the Rams here. Jason, throw it back to you with this one.
Yeah, I think that they go Jared Verse here. I think they go Jared Verse here.
I like it. Going edge rusher.
Yeah. You just lost, you know, the best defensive lineman probably in the history of the game. He was able to get into the backfield and get pressure a lot. You've got to find somebody to replace that pressure in some way, shape, or form. Jared Verse is that guy that can he gets to the quarterback. He's a stud. I think that he is the man here for sure.
Kobe, throwing it back to you, man. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. I mean, plenty of moves this offseason. Tomlin's on a roll. I think how many seasons in a row is it now with a winning record? I know it's every year that he's coached. I don't remember exactly.
Double digit, right?
Yeah, I mean it's insane. Where do you think Tomlin and the Steelers go at pick 20?
I'd go offensive line. I'd go offensive line. You got two guys now. Russell Wilson is obviously going to be your starter for the immediate future right now, and you're going to have to, invest in more protection for him. So, who did I have?
Let's see. You thinking offensive tackle? You still got Mims on the board.
I was thinking offensive tackle.
Mims, Barton, and Guyton are still there.
Yeah.
So I'd go Mims.
I like it.
I had the kid from Penn State.
I think that's the right move.
Mims is. I mean, bro, he's such a freak athletically, and Georgia has turned out some monster linemen. I mean, it's insane. Now,
embarrassment of riches down in Athens.
That is a fact. Man, we got the Dolphins here. This is my pick. I think it's another one where I think they need offensive line, and one of my favorite tackles in this class is Tyler Guyton. This kid, listen, when I was at the Senior Bowl, there was about a stretch of like 2-3 days where he was just murdering people in one-on-ones. He's got the size, got the athleticism. The Dolphins have all the weapons you can ask for an offense. The number one question is Tua's health. Defense is still loaded. Ramsey coming back. Javon Holland's doing this thing. You can shore up some other pieces later in the draft. You got to protect Tua because as soon as Tua goes down, the run's over.
I'll tell you what, too, the thing about Tyler Guyton is that he was a project. This guy was a defensive tackle that was sitting on the bench at TCU whenever Bill Beanbo went and got him for Oklahoma, and he has turned him into something else. He had a little bit of an injury issue late in the season last year where they kind of shut it down for him. But he's been he was a breath of fresh air in Norman, I can tell you that.
I kind of agree with that, Ed. I know he was very injury prone because I think he got hurt at the combine too, right?
Yeah.
Pulled his hamstring or something. But man, we go back to Jason here. Eagles pick. They disappointing year last year, man, but this team's 1 year removed from making a run to the Super Bowl and was very close to winning that game. Where do you think Philly goes here?
I think they were number 32 in pass defense. I mean, I know that they went and got a guy back in free agency, but to me, I think that you go with the best remaining.
The Georgia guy.
Who's that? Well, is who you got left? It's let me see. Go to corners real quick, just so I can see what we're.
And this would be the second corner drafted. So we got Dejon. You still got Quinyon. You still got Nate. You still got Kool-Aid, Mike Sandstrel.
Yeah, I would probably go with. Man, I really like Quinyon, but I think Cooper DeJean he looks really good out there. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to pick a white cornerback, but I got to go there.
No, but you know what? No, Cooper DeJean is really that guy. I mean, he's versatile. You know what I'm saying? He can line up on the inside. He can.
He's a stud, bro. He's a stud. No two ways around it. But
yeah, like I like Cooper DeJean.
Kobe, back up now. With your first pick for the Vikings, you got Bo Nix. Are we going Are we going 2 for 2 L's in this draft, or are we getting someone who can contribute this year?
Please.
Nah, man. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I guess I'd go O-line for Vikings.
Interior or tackle?
I'd say tackle. I'd say tackle. And then I actually do like Barton.
Okay. That's
I
not a
saw
bad
the-
pick. I know people see like the Duke sign and think he's not good. The kid's a stud.
He is.
Oh man. So how do I fix America's team? Can I pull a Jerry Jones and just draft like a
I
kid
promise
from
you.
Texas that
That's
has like a
what's gonna
7th
happen.
round grade?
Guaranteed that's what's going to happen. Oh, well, it won't be a 7th round grade, but
I mean,
he goes there.
I'll say this: their needs defensive tackle. If we're staying on brand, he's going Byron Murphy. That's where I think that he's going to go. I mean, and to be fair, Byron Murphy.
Watch him pick freaking Xavier Worthy instead.
Oh my goodness! they need interior. They haven't.
Hey, that is Dallas Cowboy Jerry Jones all the way. You know it is.
Yeah, that's a fact. But I do like Byron Murphy. I think the interior defensive line class is not super deep. There's probably 2 elite guys, which Newton's still on the board, and Murphy just went. And then there's some good guys around the 3rd, 4th round that I think have potential, but there's not a lot of surefire starters. Get a guy on the interior that could start for multiple years on this defense. I think they go Murphy here.
That was actually better than my pick. Yeah, I like that.
Now, Jason, you got the task of going for the Packers, who have done relatively well drafting. Like they nail a lot of their picks, so no pressure here.
They never really go. I mean, they're smart enough to kind of get their skill guys later on. Man, I think they right now they have to go back to offensive tackle. You know, I think that they go with Jordan Morgan here out of Arizona. They've got to find somebody to make sure that they're keeping their new quarterback upright too.
Ooh, I like that pick a lot. Bucks need everything, man. Like, good Lord, we could go so many different ways. But again, I think someone who fell way too far, Mitchell, they're just going to go get them a corner. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, thinking of their secondary, Jamel Dean's getting kind of up there in age. I believe they lost Carlton Davis this offseason as well. You get I think Mitchell is a guy who can play in the league for a while and has a chance to be like an all-pro type corner. Probably had the best Senior Bowl week of any secondary player. To get him at 26, that's a pick that the Bucks feel good on, even if it doesn't pan out, because you at least had a chance to get an elite player late in the 1st round.
Right.
Cardinals, Jason, back up. Got Marvin Harrison in the 1st pick. Where we going with pick 2?
Kool-Aid. Gotta go with Kool-Aid. They need defensive back help quite a bit. Probably could have went with Nate Wiggins. I think still he's not off the board yet, but I like Kool-Aid a little more on this one. I like Kool-Aid a lot anyway too. I think that Alabama secondary was absolutely the reason that they did what they did a year ago. So, you know, it's a good thing that all these guys are gone now that Oklahoma's going into the SEC and got a plan. I love
it. Throwing it back to Kobe. The Bills have not been able to get over the hump, the Patrick Mahomes hump. Where are you going to make them a bona fide Super Bowl contender finally?
See, I don't know if this will make them a Super Bowl contender, but I mean, you lost Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Who we gonna replace him with? You know what I'm saying? So I think they should go wide receiver. And when going wide receiver, I mean, Keon Coleman's still on the board, but how can you pass up on A.D. Mitchell? Because I am putting all the stock in A.D. Mitchell. You know, probably more than a lot of people are. I really do like that kid. But Keon Coleman is the big body kind of guy. I feel like I see him more as a build than I would. The other kid, but nah, I'm gonna actually go Xavier. I don't say you could pass up on Xavier. I think you have to go there.
Worthy?
No,
wait, you mean AD?
AD, Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah, AD Mitchell.
Well, Kobe's right back up. Back-to-back picks here. Lions NFC Championship run this year. I don't know if we have any, what was it, an ankle or knee biters in this class, but who you sent to Detroit, man? Yeah.
Down on the goal line he is. Yeah.
I actually had this. Hold on. I had this somewhere. And now I can't find it. Okay. I do think they need help on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
James Houston, I'm not saying he has an injury problem, but I mean, get him a little bit more help for Aiden Hutchinson. So who's still available on the board?
Dallas Turner, Isaac from Penn State, Chop Robinson from Penn State.
I do like Chop. I really like Chop. But I'm gonna say Dallas Turner.
I was fixing to say I like Dallas Turner too.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas Turner and Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Because Aiden Hutchinson has that, like, obviously Dallas Turner is not the prospect that Aiden Hutchinson was. Like, that kid is like what, 270 and moves like he weighs 220.
Right.
Dallas Turner is the guy who only weighs 230, 240, and he's so elite off the edge. It's like, okay, so if you double Aiden, are you going to have the speed on the backside to stop Dallas? That's the question. And I think he really shined at Bama. What was it, 2 years ago when he wasn't the featured edge rusher, but when he got those one-on-one matchups on the backside, he would eat people alive, man.
He's the guy.
I got Ravens here. I think, God, there's a few different things. I think one, you want to get Lamar some help at wide receiver. That's kind of been the theme for the past few years. I think an edge rusher as well. But I think obviously you got to go get Lamar some help. If you don't, everyone's going to lose their mind. I know my guy Troy Franklin's up there for Kobe, but I still think the best prospect up top is Keon Coleman.
I agree. Actually, I don't see Troy Franklin.
I don't think it's Troy Franklin.
Yeah,
Troy already skinny, man. He can't do too much blocking.
I like Troy, but I don't. Yeah, no.
I think Keon fits what Lamar needs so well, because on the run, if Lamar can put it in his catch radius, he's winning the one-on-one matchup.
Because Lamar's not going to be that accurate. He's just not that accurate of a passer, particularly from that 10 to 25 yard range. He could throw the deep ball and have guys go run underneath it, but I think that's the right move. I think a perfect guy for him.
Right. Yeah, and then I got the 49ers here. Man, I mean, you could go plenty different directions. Interior defensive line, because Eric Armstead is getting way up there in age, and that's kind of been a feature there. You need possibly an offensive tackle, cornerback. Who's all on the board, man? I don't think Newton would be a bad pick. Wiggins either. God, there's so many guys that I would. You know what? I'm going to take the obvious pick here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and take Newton. He fell this far. Armstead's getting up in age. You've got to have a big body in the middle to help Bosa on the edge. I think they're going to keep that defensive line strong, and they're going to go ahead and take Newton at pick 31.
Okay. I like it.
Wrapping it up, man. Chiefs, Jason, final pick of the night, man. Where's the Chiefs going, man? Because really and truly, they could get anything, and you got Patrick Mahomes.
I think that, and I think that to keep Patrick happy, you could probably go offensive tackle here. You could definitely go defensive tackle here as well. I think that they try to keep him. Look, they have not had guys the entire last year that they could depend on until they got to the playoffs to catch footballs. I think you got to go out there and get him a receiver. There's no way I'm picking a Texas receiver in this spot. I'm going with Ladd McConkey. I think that's a guy that he's going to get open. He's going to be one of those guys. I like Ladd a lot. I think that he's a lot better player than a lot of people give him credit for as well. He runs great routes. He's that kind of smart receiver that's going to get to that open spot and make it real easy on Patrick Mahomes. So there's no way I was going with no way I was going with Xavier Worthy, although it would not surprise me if he ended up there as well.
I would be sick. I mean, could you imagine that speed? I mean, so there's the mock draft guys. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May going in the first 3 picks, back-to-back wide receivers with Harrison Jr. and Adunze. A shocking pick, JJ McCarthy at 6 to the Giants. I mean, so looking at this, guys,
as shocking as you think. I think it's a reality. Probably.
That's just God. That would be such a bad pick. That would be an absolutely terrible pick. So let me ask you guys: the best fit in the draft, in y'all's opinion, based on this mock draft?
Bo Nix at Minnesota.
Y'all sleep on my boy if you want to. Y'all
Whatever,
sleep
bro.
on my boy if you want
Mr.
to.
Underneath
I got
route,
faith in him,
Mr. Underneath route himself, bro. Come on. the best fit. Man, I mean, just because of the fact that they need receivers so bad, I think the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison, I think it's a great fit for them. I honestly am hearing a lot of things about the Colts making a crazy move and jumping up to grab him just because of his dad and the fact that Reggie Wayne is the receiver coach there. I could see that kind of happening, but I think that Marvin's a great fit. Definitely for Kyler Murray. He's a guy that's going to be, he's going to get open. He's going to run great routes, every time out. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be real good.
I really like Jaden Daniels in number 2, man, just because, again, him, Cliff Kingsbury, I think they can do some things together. You know what I'm saying? I think Cliff can get really creative when his only responsibility is, calling offensive plays. So I think he can get really creative with what Jaden can do. So I for one can't wait to see it, hopefully, if they take him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few, man, that really that kind of stick out to me. I do yeah, like Mark Wall said, I do like the Atlanta one. I mean, the Kirk Cousins is going to have so many weapons at his disposal. If that happens, there's no reason for that offense to be bad next year. It's got to be the defense's fault you don't win that division, especially with the Saints not being what they weren't, what they once were. The Bucks being led by Baker Mayfield, who had a great year last year, but that's not an elite team right now. Carolina being where they are. You got to go out and win something if you're Atlanta.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you got an opportunity to do that in view of the fact that the Saints don't really have a ton either, I just think that, I like it. I think that may be it right there, Malik Neighbors. I think it may be Malik Neighbors too.
How do y'all feel about Penix sliding out the first round? Possibly.
That's kind of crazy.
I think you keep hearing it though. It would be, I don't think that you have as much crazy need towards the end. And once you got past a certain point, I don't think that he was going to get in there. I think that I'll just tell you, I think if Minnesota goes quarterback, they go Michael Penix instead of Bo Nix, because he does have different kind of arm talent. I think that's fair. But I think that either one of them, if they fall past that spot, which of the rest of these teams really, aside from maybe you could argue Denver, you could argue the Raiders a little bit there, but they've got guys that are kind of bridge guys anyway. And if you don't love those guys, then you don't really need to do that. I don't think that, I would say Denver probably would be the one to do it more than the Raiders, because of the fact the Raiders have a couple of guys that are, that can kind of bridge the gap for a while. But in the fact that, you had to dump all that salary, you need to go in the draft for a quarterback, but I don't think they are. It sounds like that's what Denver is going to go and find them a veteran guy, and which is, kind of surprising, but I think they'd be better off to go with a quarterback. But once you get past that spot, I mean, the rest of these teams, they're not super needy at that position, right? I mean, it just doesn't seem like it.
I am a little. I did think that 4.2 speed would be enough. They sneak Nate Wiggins in there late. I thought it would be, but it wouldn't surprise me if he fell out. But a guy who we didn't pick, right? Jared Verse. Did we pick him in the first round?
Yeah, he went 19 to LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I will say with Nate Wiggins.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say Nate Wiggins, like I was real torn at 31 because he's kind of the perfect corner for what the 49ers need right now. They don't need like a bona fide superstar on the outside. They need a guy who can kind of fit that slot corner role that can also slide outside if needed with the athleticism. Nate Wiggins is their guy. I just think that their bigger need is in the interior right now, but I would not be surprised if you saw the 49ers possibly jump out there and take him. Also, too, the Buccaneers with the corner, I mean, they also could have, I mean, because I don't know if Mitchell falls at 26 in real life. Wiggins at 26 could also be something to look at.
Right.
The only thing is there wasn't I mean, there's not a ton of need early in the. I mean, they went off the board late. You know, corners went off the board late. I was the first one to pick one. Right, was at Terrion Arnold.
Yeah,
and
17.
that was what at 17. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't put him in front of Terrion. I like Quinyon Mitchell, but I don't think you can put him in front of Cooper either. You know what I mean? He's kind of a project kid. You know, it's one of those kids that you're not positive anything about him. I mean, he played at Toledo. It's not exactly the same. You know what I mean?
I think the only team.
My bad. Go ahead.
I was about to say the only team in the top 10 that could possibly reach for a corner, I think, is Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably would have went corner there, but bro, Neighbors was at 8. You can't let Neighbors get back to Chicago for sure.
Hell
you can't
no.
let Neighbors and Caleb Williams pair up.
No. Well, and I'll tell you what, I think that you know, I was saying that I didn't think Brock Bowers, I couldn't believe he lasted till 15. I could absolutely see them taking him at number 9, because you pair a guy like that with Caleb Williams. I mean, and you're talking about year one, and you've got some good receivers, you've got some good options there now, but you talk about giving him a guy that's going to be his security blanket for the duration of their time in Chicago. It's Brock Bowers. I mean, to me, I almost would have done it just for the simple fact of, hey man, you want to make sure that this guy doesn't have a reason to get pissed off at you. You know, because Chicago does not have they do not have a good history with quarterbacks. They just don't. I mean, you got to go all the way back to Jim McMahon to find one that's really been that good.
Yeah,
you really do, and that's 85. You know what I mean? That's crazy talk, but I think that because of you have to worry a little bit about Caleb being a bit of a prima donna. Go get him. That guy, I mean, sheesh, I don't know, man. I'm still of the belief. I mean, you find a guy that you think could be a Travis Kelce kind of guy, and you go get him. That's why I will say top 10.
If Bowers, let's say we get to the draft, if Bowers is there at 18, terrifying. Mm-hmm. I know Bengals have a lot of needs, but if you can find a way to get Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and that wide receiving core, and go ahead and get him Bowers.
Ain't no way he lasts till that long. No way.
I would hope not. I really thought he was going to fall at 5 until, Jim Harbaugh decided to get rid of the entire wide receiving room.
Yeah.
True. Let me ask you this, though. What about a mid-round sleeper, like a real sleeper pick, who you think is going to be something in this rookie class?
You know me. I've got a million FCS guys that I'll bang the table for. Christian Boyd, Northern Iowa, at D tackle. I think he was one of the guys. I mentioned the defensive tackle class wasn't super deep. He's a mid-round guy that I think could turn into an every down starter. He played at Northern Iowa, who's generated multiple draft picks. I think he had an amazing Shrine Bowl, has the size, has the athleticism, the production that you want coming from the FCS. I also think Mason McCormick, offensive guard from South Dakota State. He, 70 career games, I want to say, back-to-back national champion, 4-time All-American, and was set all kind of records for, I think he was the 7th highest rated guard in combine history with his performance. He's got everything you want in terms of discipline, hand placement, pop, power, everything. I think those are 2 guys that I'm really excited for. And then even probably a day 3 guy, Jalen Coker. I still think Jalen Coker is the guy late round in terms of catch radius, size, route running, just leadership in the locker room. And he checks all the boxes for me for a late round guy. So I would say Christian Boyd, Mason McCormick, and Jalen Coker are the 3 that I'm most excited to see.
I've been looking at this DB class specifically, and I really kind of like what I see overall when it comes to the depth too. Renardo Green, Florida State. I don't know what his projected projected round is. But I really like that kid. Like a 4.3 speed, 75% of his snaps was in press coverage. And he more than handled his own the whole season. 17 pass breakups. Like, dude, I think 17th highest rate of all FBS DBs with 100 snaps at least. Nah, dude balled out. So I think somebody's really gonna get a guy in Renardo Green. I like him.
I think I said this on the last show that when we were talking about these guys, but I think that you're probably going to get Marshawn Lloyd somewhere around the 70th position, 71st, somewhere in that area. I think if you get that is a super duper steal. They underutilized him at USC last year. He was only getting 10 carries a game. But Pro Football Focus had him rated as the number 1 back because he was getting that much yardage. I think that this is a guy that you have to make sure that you go get, and getting him in the 3rd round, unbelievable, right?
You have always been high on Marshawn Lloyd. I remember that.
He's a stud, dude. He's watch him run.
Yeah, no, he is a stud. Anything else y'all want to discuss before we get up out of here?
How many trades do you think we see day one? You remember that year? I don't remember what year it was where it seemed like every single pick was traded. Like, people were moving up and down and trading players. It was just chaos. And then we've seen other years where everyone just kind of stays put. We get like 1 trade.
People be
in
scared.
The mid-round.
I think we see 3. I can see about 3 trades. 1 happening early, 2 kind of midway through. I can see about 3 trades. I don't know who exactly, but I can see about 3 going down. Because the thing with this class is, man, I feel like it's not really about who we want. It's just who I don't want them to have. I feel like that's what this class is. So, I'd say about 2 or 3. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Obviously there's the teams that are historically willing to trade back. I got a weird feeling the Panthers are going to try to find their way into the 1st round.
They should.
They got so many needs, and some of their needs are there's some elite prospects in the or some let me say this, potential elite prospects in the 1st round for them. If there's any way for them to jump into that 15 to 25 range, I think they try to find a way to do it while also keeping pick 33.
Right.
Sorry about that, fellas. I didn't even know I was off of there. My screen went dead because my dog moved it, and then I was gone. I was over here talking, acting like y'all were listening to me. It was like it's awful quiet over there, though.
Well, no, the Panthers really do have a lot of moves. Where do you think their biggest move should be at? Like, where?
Help Bryce Young in any way possible, whether that's offensive line, I think is where they go with 33. But if they trade up because they love an offensive lineman, I think they go there, and then they'll probably get a wide receiver at 33 if they can keep that in the trade.
You know what? Perfect question, right? The Texans in excuse me, the rise that they've made in just 1 short year, and then going out and getting stuff on. What more can they do? Like, can they what more can they do in this draft to expand their fortune even more than they already have done?
Because I'm looking here, they don't have a pick till 42, I believe. Because that's Minnesota's pick. So they got to pick at 42, 59, 86. So it's like, man, I don't think they need a wide receiver. I think you're good there, especially after the Diggs trade. That you're good there. I think it's all defense for them, right? Because you feel good offensively. Your offensive line's good, led by Laramie Tunsil and them. You have weapons at wide receiver. You have a decent run game, but I think you could pick up a running back mid-round if you needed one. You got CJ Stroud. I think you just load up on defensive linemen, cornerbacks, and then you need 1 decent linebacker that can give you some significant stats this year. But I think defensive line and corner, those are the 2 positions I think they need the most in this draft.
All right. Let's talk about a little bit about HBCU prospects. Mikey Victor in particular. Mikey Victor, where does he go? Where do you see him going? I like him.
Day 3, I think the ceiling for him's 5th. The floor, I mean UDFA, but I think it's somewhere between the 5th and 7th. I think he falls. If I had to put money on it, I would say somewhere late 5th, 6th round is where I would probably put him. I think he's probably done more for his stock throughout the all season than just about any prospect. Because going into the all season, we were talking about Sonny, and we were talking about a Neem, and it's kind of now where Mikey's almost a consensus number 1 HBCU prospect right now on the board.
Love it.
And there's a strong possibility he might be the only HBCU guy drafted, because the D2 kid Willie Drew killed his stock at the Senior Bowl.
The Virginia State kid?
Yeah.
It was ugly. It was so ugly.
Ugly Senior Bowl. Then I want to say he did something crazy at his pro day where he messed it up or didn't do well or decided not to participate in some drills or something. And so he's had a terrible offseason.
Your own pro day?
Yeah.
What? Come on.
And so I think Mikey's probably, in my opinion, the number 1 HBCU prospect on the board. I think late 5th, somewhere in the 6th round is probably where you're going to see him taken.
Okay. All right. Because when it comes to HBCU prospects, like I don't want to make it seem like I'm downing somebody and being disrespectful, but I do have an opinion when it comes to those offensive linemen. Dankwa may be the guy who got the invite, but I think it's Tariq Stewart over Dankwa. And that, like, me personally, I just feel like when it comes to Dankwa, he's big, but he's gonna have problems with agile and fast edge rushers. And you've seen it with when he faced Anthony Dunn Jr.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I just look at Dankwa and I'm like, and then you can't move him to guard because he's 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", something crazy like that. Yeah. You can't move him to guard. How you get him faster at this point?
I'll say this. Tariq is the better prospect as of April 19th, 8:35 p.m. But the problem is Dankwa's ceiling is so high if you can mold him into the prospect that he can be. And when you're talking about prospects from the 4th round later, you would rather have a thing of clay that might not be a great prospect, but you could see the vision of turning that thing into this award-winning, you can mold them into what you want rather than a hardened piece of clay that you can't mold at all, and that's as good as he's going to get. That's the difference, I think, when you look, because Dankwa has not played football as long. He's a much rawer prospect, but he has better size, has shown bigger flashes, and teams are looking at him as he's got the much higher ceiling. The floor is I think the floor is higher for Tariq, and I'm with you. I loved what I saw from Tariq at the Legacy Bowl, but it's just both of you guys know this. Coaches, especially at college and NFL, think they are the key to unlock every prospect. If they see a bright spot, it's like, man, if I could just get my hands on him, I can turn him into this, or this. And that's how they feel about Dankwa compared to Tariq Stewart. They feel like he's closer to his ceiling than Dankwa is.
I understand it.
But I'm with you. Tariq's a problem, and I don't think he gets enough credit. And I think he should be in consideration for a late round pick, and I don't know if he will, but he's going to be on a roster somewhere, and he's going to get a UDFA somewhere.
Yeah, I figured I'd be right, just about right for him. I mean, I knew Tariq was gonna, go undrafted. It's just I just thought, like, damn, like he is a really good prospect that he should have gotten a lot more attention over Dankwa. But I see why they gave him the invite, to the combine. I don't know how his performance went in Indy, but
he didn't do any drills. He did. Okay, my bad. He didn't do any workouts. He did on-field drills, but he didn't run the 40. He didn't do anything like that. He did all that at his pro day, which wasn't the best. But, I mean, what kind of 40 are you expected from a 6'8", 350 offensive tackle?
Right.
And so, more so, he moved well in on-field drills, which is much more important than any measurement that you would have gotten from an on-field workout.
Okay. Jason, you got anything else you want to add?
No, man, I just was kind of looking through it and what we had. I think that I could see it kind of falling this way. To be honest, I think you're probably going to see some trades in there somewhere that's going to kind of shake this up a little bit. But I'm not the one that, you know, we panned it a lot, and, you know, other than the Minnesota one, which I'm never going to be with you on, Kobe. but no, I think that I can see the Giants actually making that move, and it's crazy as it sounds. I think that they're going to make that move. I whatever reason it is, now they could have gotten rid of their guy last year, you know, and you know, but they didn't. And now that they gave him money, 80 million or whatever it was, now they're going to make this move today. So it's weird to me, but I keep hearing it everywhere. I mean, you know, now it could be just them throwing it, but they've never been that team that throws out a bunch of really good smoke signals that, oh, they got us. You know what I mean? That's just not who the Giants are. So it sounds to me like that's where they're headed. They're in love with JJ McCarthy for whatever reason. Because I don't understand it. But, you know, yeah, I don't know, man. It seems like it's going to happen, and it's wild to believe it. But I think that this receiver depth in this draft right here is, you're probably going to be talking about this draft for this receiver room for a long time, right? I mean, just the amount of guys that are going to be putting up numbers for a long time to come. And I think, and you add Brock Bowers in there, you really going to be talking about this draft for a long time, I think, when it comes to that.
Who's your rookie of the year picks?
I always like to wait. Yeah, it's so tough because like I always like to see where they wind up. That's a tough one.
I see Jaden Daniels. I think that it could be Jaden if he goes in there and can improve them. You know, I think that they're going to be a little better on defense. They got the right guy coming in there as the head coach. I think that if they go in and do some of the things that we saw from that staff in Atlanta, because they were good in Atlanta, you know. I mean, the losing the Super Bowl thing kind of ended things for him there, I think. You know what I mean? Losing the Super Bowl the way they did. But I think that he's a good coach. I think that, and as much as I'm not a fan of Cliff Kingsbury as far as being a head coach, I think he's pretty good for an offensive coordinator for sure, especially for a guy like Jaden Daniels.
Right.
Hear me out.
Last question from me, and then whatever y'all want to talk about, we could. How do you expect Caleb to do? Like, does he do better than Justin in his first year?
Justin Fields?
Yeah.
What's the bar at? Hell?
Yeah, I was going to say,
like, he's got to throw for what, like 1,200 yards?
It's like, yeah.
Don't do my guy like that.
He's gonna get. He just got. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if he was rookie of the year. They've got a lot of guys for him. They were 7-10 last year. I mean, they weren't that bad. And you know, the only reason they got that pick is because of Carolina, you know, doing what they did last year. I think that with the guys they have at receiver, and if they were to do the Brock Bowers thing, I think he most definitely could be rookie of the year.
So, his rookie year, Fields completed 58% of his passes for 1,800 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions.
And he played what, about half the season?
12 games.
It was really that bad.
And then 420 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Caleb's doing better than that. I'm not high on Caleb, but he's beating that, I think. I don't see Caleb doing 7 touchdowns with 10 picks.
No. And I think that they're in a lot better shape right today than they were when Justin Fields. And I'm not killing Justin Fields. I think he's good. I think that it won't be long. Russ will be out the door in Pittsburgh, and they're going to be playing Justin Fields. I don't see that lasting at all.
Really? Y'all don't see him redeeming himself in Pittsburgh?
Huh? Russell?
Y'all don't see Russ redeeming himself in Pittsburgh?
No.
They might as well just put Future at quarterback. Like, he might be a better quarterback than Russ. I mean, bro, he was so bad in Denver.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's just, gosh, Russ was. I mean, I think Russ had like a run in Seattle where like he was solid. But when did Russ ever carry that team?
Never. They used to talk about letting him cook. Look, the Boom, the Legion of Boom was that. Ed's right. He's washed. The Legion of Boom carried them early, along with Marshawn Lynch. When they stopped having Marshawn and the guy that could like run the football and keep it going, then all that running around shit in the backfield and waiting until something got open it wasn't near as cute in Seattle either.
No,
it just wasn't near as cute. So I've never been a huge Russ guy. I don't think that. I mean, I think that he was good for a time, but he was never the guy that they acted like he was. Ever.
The biggest indictment on Russ was Geno Smith came in there and
thank you.
They looked unstoppable.
Absolutely. And Geno, man, I didn't even know the dude was still in the league.
I didn't either.
I had no idea.
And he had weapons. You had DK. You had wide receivers, and you had their offensive line needed work. Let's be honest. Toward the end of his time there, his offensive line wasn't great. But let's not act like Marshawn Lynch wasn't who Marshawn Lynch was by Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
It
was very important there. And then the fact that they were shutting people down. It was a no-fly zone in that defensive backfield. They were good everywhere, but you weren't getting it by those dudes in the secondary. No way.
You have Bobby Wagner, a middle linebacker, who was at one point arguably one of the best linebackers in the league. And then let's not forget, like Doug Baldwin and those wide receivers. They might not have been superstars, but they could ball when it came down to it.
But they were dogs, is what it was. Yeah. They were going to go get the football and run good routes, and they were going to keep trying to get open. Whenever because Russ was going to be back there running around. It was a fit. It was a perfect fit at the perfect time, but he was never that dude, man.
No.
Never.
No. Pittsburgh, their defense is good. Let me put that out there. And I think Tomlin's a great coach. So Russ might be marginally more successful there, like in terms of wins, losses, but he's not going to be the catalyst for the Steelers, like winning that division. Or I still think when you look at that division, the Steelers are the third best team in that division right now.
I mean,
you put the Ravens over them for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the Bengals. Yeah,
but I mean, I think the Bengals and them are pretty. I mean, if Burrow's healthy, then the Bengals, for sure. Yeah.
And then let's not forget the Browns, outside of quarterback, have
fire, bro. They're never going to win there.
Oh no, I agree with that. I'm just saying, on paper, they have talent everywhere, but at the quarterback spot,
right? Yeah,
especially on defensive line.
But at what point they're about to fight? I mean, look, did they even pick in the first round? When's their first pick?
I can look at. Hang on.
All that stuff for Deshaun. I mean, everything that they've given up for Deshaun Watson, for them to get what out of him,
bro? They have the latest first pick of the draft at pick 54.
Oh my God.
So look, all that draft capital that they saved up during that time, and they had a guy in Baker that, had they not ruined him, as far as what happened there in Clear, they badmouthed him the entire time just because they wanted. I don't know what it was that they thought they were going to get out of this dude. And I'm sorry, man. The way that they acted about Baker Mayfield, and this is the Oklahoma guy coming out of me, but bro, the way they treated that dude over him playing hurt, and I mean, nobody ever gives Kevin Stefanski any of the freaking blame on any of that shit. Their offensive line is trash, and you've got him stuck in the pocket. What are you doing? There would be times that you don't even have your running back in the game. You're one of the best running backs in the game, and there's a whole series that he's sitting out, and that's when you decide to run play action. I never understood what they were doing there. Never understood it. Clearly, I think they were trying to kick him out. They wanted him out.
Baker had the worst luck.
From the beginning, when Hugh brought him in that office to tell him, congratulations, you're the backup, I just knew, bro, it wasn't going to last there.
Baker's had the worst luck. You get to go to Cleveland under Hugh Jackson, who might be one of the worst coaches historically in the NFL's entire history. Yeah. And then you get traded to Carolina? Was it Carolina? When it was probably the worst time in Carolina franchise history, and then finally finally in your late 20s, you get to go play for a competent franchise with Mike Evans at wide receiver. Dude, that dude probably feels like he hasn't worked a day in his life since he's been traded to Tampa.
No, dude, and that's what Sean McVay was saying whenever he went down there for those last few games of the year. And I mean, he balled out on a team that they were trash. I mean, they were just bad. So, and he was like, I don't know what the hell the rest of y'all are talking about. I was so happy to see that be able to happen for him, for Baker, because, and then, he still got a lot of that stuff being, but everybody who's ever played for him, and even all those Browns guys, none of those dudes talk bad about Baker Mayfield. None of them, and so that's when because you can listen to the shit that comes out of the front offices or whatever, like what was Cleveland trying to say, we're going to have a grown up and stuff like that. You're going to have a grown up? Really? I was about to say something. I'm not going to say it, but, but come on, man. That was just crazy, but I'm glad. I'm happy for Baker Mayfield in that respect. I hope that they continue to build a little bit there, but yeah, they got a competent organization at least.
Real quick, this could be the last topic. I know we're probably over time. Is Mike Evans the most underrated wide receiver of arguably all time?
Yes.
I think so too, man. Yeah.
I mean, how consistent of a receiver can you be and not get any bit of attention, any bit of recognition? Like I was going to go and look at his all-time receiving records.
Listen, I'm looking at it here. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards. That's every year of his career, along with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of 12 plus touchdowns in a single season. Multi-time All-Pro.
This isn't only with Brady. This is with Jameis. Blind Jameis.
Didn't he come in with Mike Glennon and guys like that? I mean, he came into the league with like Mike Glennon. I mean, who the hell was that dude? And look, he didn't get enough of the love when he was at Texas A&M for Johnny Football and what was going on there. Johnny Football doesn't win that Heisman without Mike Evans. There ain't no damn way. Ain't no damn way. Right. Because he was an absolute mismatch, even in the SEC.
Do you remember that Bama game when Bama came to them?
They couldn't
touch him. Threw that prayer up, and he caught like, dude.
He was an absolute mismatch, bro, and he still is. He still is. I mean, this is actually his best season for yardage. No, it wasn't. Second best season for yardage. So third, I guess. 1,500 yards in 2018, but he had 1,255. And, the other, I think his third season, he had 1,300 yards or something.
Yeah, his rookie season, he put up 1,000 yards with 12 touchdowns with Mike Glennon at quarterback.
That's insane.
And 12 touchdowns? Golly.
Yeah, I didn't even know Mike Glennon threw for 12 career touchdowns. Like, I'll be completely honest with you.
Well, and even I think that, do you think that playing with Tom Brady and then Gronk being there along with AB, and then, they had, who was their other receiver that's been so good too?
Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Just the fact that all those guys were there is what kind of, because that's when they got good, and it overshadowed kind of what they were, right? So, I mean, because you're going to talk about the GOAT, and you're going to talk about obviously Gronk being there, and, AB, but the thing about AB is that's when he stopped kind of being who he was, to me, because I've always thought of him as a completely underrated, guaranteed Hall of Famer. I think it's sad that the things over the last few years of his career may make it very hard for him to get in the Hall. But I think he's an absolute Hall of Famer.
Let's talk about this week.
I know, bro.
That was
the
sick,
fall off is crazy,
brother. This is CTE.
I believe it now.
Yeah.
There's no way you can. I mean, look, he was always a little kooky, but brother, there's no way that you can go from where he was when he was young, and he was humble, at least somewhat humble. And I get it that sometimes they change a little bit especially receivers. Receivers are prima donnas for sure. But bro, there's no way that it doesn't have something to do with getting cracked in the head and being that and playing in the AFC North for all those years against those defenses, getting crushed like that. Bro, there's no way that's not what's going on with this dude. It's sad, and it's, I hate it for him, but They got to do something. They got to help this guy because that's what he needs is help. They don't need to throw his ass in prison. They need to help him.
Brady tried to help him. He messed that up, burned that bridge. That's when I knew, like, bro, something really is wrong up there with him.
Yeah,
You
Brady
could
tried to
tell
let him move
whenever they
into his
left,
house.
when he left the Raiders. It was crazy when he ran out of there like that. It was weird. He lost all that money. Weird. The whole thing was odd, man. I don't know.
But y'all, man, hey, this was a really good show, man. We got a really good turnout. I appreciate y'all for doing this.
Yep.
Enjoyed it, brother. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Hey, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Next time y'all see us, we should have Kelly and Clay here. But hey, shout out to Clay because he got a sale tonight. I don't know how much he made during the day, but I know he definitely got one before he went home. So shout out to him for that commission, man. We love to see it. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll let y'all know the next time we have an episode on the way, man. This is FBS Fridays with the pod, with the panel. My guy Zach, my guy Jason. We out, man. We'll see y'all next time.